You are listening to StoryMakers, the podcast for women who are ready to step into their true identity, live with meaningful purpose, find belonging and connection, grow in leadership, and walk boldly in faith. Here you can uncover the story that you were created to live because you were made for such a time as this. Okay, so maybe you're doing the work and you're showing up and you're saying all the right things, you believe the right things, but the outcome that you get doesn't feel like it matches. It's not in alignment with what you think you're showing up and saying and doing, right? You're not seeing the fruit that you thought you'd have by now, or maybe the results you are seeing are difficult to admit to, accept, and maybe they're not what you want. That's what we're talking about today, because we're continuing the walk down this path of how your paradigm informs your emotions, which influence your actions. And this results space is kind of tender, I think, to a lot of us when we stop and look at it, because it asks us to stop and look at what is actually happening in our lives, not just what we wish was happening or what we think or how we interpret what is happening. We actually have to look at the facts of the results. So in Matthew 7, Jesus says, "By their fruit you will recognize them." And he's talking about people, but I think we can also look at this in regards to patterns and actions and results, because the fruit reveals the truth. And we talked in the last episode about true goals, how the results reveal the action you've taken, and the action reveals the paradigm and emotion you've been operating from. So you can't say that you planted grapes if you're harvesting weeds or thorns, but no grapes. So you can't say that you are rooted in peace when you live in a growing anxiety. So the good news is that while the fruit does not lie, it can change. You can shift it. And Jesus says in John 15 that we are called to bear fruit, not just some fruit, but fruit that will last. And that's what the Father is looking for. That's what our hearts really long for, right? Not a performance and a show, but fruitfulness. That kind of fruit doesn't come from forcing more action and becoming more disciplined. It comes from abiding. It comes from going to the Father's house, leaving the field the older brother's operating in and spending his time getting prideful and bitter in, leaving the city and the pigsty that the prodigal's living in, thinking he's going to buffer and find the better way over here and feel really good and have fun. It means coming to the Father's house. Results are the outcome or the consequence even of your actions, and they're the evidence, what shows up in your life and what's growing on the tree. So they're not about your worth. They aren't a scorecard, but they can be a bit of a mirror. And what we don't always understand, that I'm trying to help you see, is that every action is preceded by an emotion, which is fueled by your paradigm. So every result is actually shaped by that entire chain reaction. And that's why white-knuckling your way to some goal never works in the long run, because if you're not shifting what's underneath the surface, if you don't change the roots, you won't change the fruit. So you can paint the tree, right? You can spray it with stuff, but you can change the external behavior and then clean the outside of the cup. You have to change what's inside the cup and get it clean, right? Get an alignment. So that's where it starts getting very real to us. And we have to look at the actual results that show up in our life right now. Are your relationships revealing that you feel there's safety and there's connection, or is there tension and withdrawal? Are your daily rhythms producing peace and rest or stress and exhaustion? Is your relationship and your walk with God bearing good fruit? Or are you operating more in performance and pressure and like God is a taskmaster instead of a good father? The grace in all of it is that results are never a final verdict. So they're just a feedback loop. And they're telling you what's working and what is not so you can get realigned. And they're also not always immediate. So some of them, like some seeds, they just take time to grow. But even the waiting has fruit because faithfulness is actually a result in your life. So let's be clear about the distinction that the results are like the immediate, tangible outcome of your action. So they are what happens because of what you do or don't do. And in the long run, it leads to a legacy. But the legacy is not the same thing. Legacies are what happen when the results are repeated and kind of compounded over time. So if the results are the bricks, then the legacy is kind of like the whole building, right? When you understand this, then you can stop being so surprised by your patterns. And you can start tracing the results that you don't love in your life all the way back to the moment when you agreed with a thought. Because the thought is not the true fact. The fact of the situation had no opinion or judgment attached to it. It's completely neutral. There's no positive or negative until you have a thought that there is something positive or negative about it. Then that thought stirs up an emotion. That emotion leads to a decision to act or not act. And that decision to act and that action shapes the outcome, which is the result. It's not magic. It is not a mystery any longer. We have broken it down. It's kind of simple math. So if you see it clearly, you realize how you can take back the power and authority in your story that you have given away unconsciously. Not taking it back like by striving in your own strength, but in partnership with God. You're co-writing and co-creating the rest of your story. But what happens is you've given away the pencil. You put it in somebody else's pocket. You have believed that your story is more impacted by other people's decisions than by yours. And that is not true. And it makes you feel like you're powerless if it's everybody else's decisions and actions and results that change your life. You become a victim of actually your paradigm. Because you are believing that other people, other events outside of you, everything external is ruling your world and you're a victim of it. But as a daughter of the Most High God, right? A good father, He has given you the ability to change your mind. That's what repentance is. Your brain is actually wired to change, and science now proves it. So you can actually shift what you believe and think and create new neural pathways. The neuroplasticity is the fact that your brain is designed to change and go another way. And you can repent and go another way. You can renew your mind. You have the mind of Christ, and all of these things, they impact your brain. Your mind is part of your soul. Your brain is an organ of your body. But they are connected because our soul and our body are woven intricately together. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. So the goal here in doing this work is to understand that your paradigm of thoughts and beliefs and interpretations, your perception, your reality, your imagination, and your memories, all of these things are leading to emotions that you either want or don't want, to actions that you take or don't take. And you're creating results in your own life. You are allowing or you are intentionally creating a storyline. So I want you to think about a result in your life right now that you do not love getting. Get really honest about it. And then trace it back. What action did you take? Because none of this has anything to do with someone else. It's what action did you take that led to this result? No matter what anybody else or anything externally happened, like this is about you taking personal responsibility for your story. And what feeling led you and drove you to take that action? And what thought did you have that impacted that emotion, the experience of that emotion? I don't want you to judge this. It's not good or bad. I just want you to become aware and start noticing you. And then ask yourself, like, what is a truth? What's a scriptural truth that I could think and believe instead? And then you could also repeat this process with a result in your life that you do love having and learn from that, and let results become something that teaches you, not controls you. So this week, pick some area of your life, like a relationship or your finances or your walk with the Lord, your schedule or daily rhythm, right? And then just ask, like, what are the visible results, tangible things, outcomes that I am seeing in my life right now in this area? And then go backward and follow that path in reverse. The result is coming from some action, what action led there, and what emotion drove the action, and what thought or belief was beneath it. So this is not about shaming yourself. This is about learning how to steward your story faithfully. All right? I'm excited to get to next episode, because it's about the culmination of these results that lead to the legacy in your life, the way that other people are experiencing you, the story other people will tell, the story that's impacting and influencing your spheres that you're in. So we're going to get in alignment together, because your story matters and you can take personal responsibility for it, and you can change the outcome, and you can live like you're chosen and adopted. You can write a new chapter. You can write new books. You can create a whole series. You can fill the library with the truth. Okay? Trust me, it is not too late. We can do this together. And I would love for you to leave a review on this podcast, and let me know at Coach Laura Malone on Instagram how the series is impacting you, what you're thinking. You can tag me. I am not a huge social media person. I'm going to be honest. I don't love it. I have so much to do that matters to me that I don't pick up my phone, and I really don't get on social media very often. But I feel like with StoryMakers, I want to be able to connect with you. And a lot of you are on Instagram. I want to be able to connect with you there, because a podcast is not like a blog post or a YouTube channel where there's a place to leave comments. And I am thinking that maybe on social media, that's a place where I can connect with you more about what you're thinking, and be able to answer more questions and have conversations in our DMs together. But I'm just going to be honest, this is not how I build business or ministry. It's more of a place that I want to be if you're there and you want to connect with me. I want to be able to feed you more and sow into you, inspire, encourage, educate you, and connect. So this is really probably in the past 3 years of podcasting, the first time I've actually said to anybody, let's connect on social media. Let's connect over on Instagram. Like, I don't think I've ever said that. Oh, Jesus, what are you doing? I'm just going to give it a go and see if it's a place where people are wanting to connect. Because if it's not, I will cut it out. I'm real good at saying no. I'm a boundaried girl. I would rather spend time creating more content here, working on my courses, coaching my clients, and developing bigger, greater, deeper, high value content and resources for you than getting stuck there. So if it's a place I can show up and resource you, then I will. But honestly, if I ever find that it's taking up too much of my time and I hate being there, then I will quit. You have freedom to not be on social media, or just pick one time a day. Like, the only time I get 15 minutes between 4 and 4:15 every afternoon, and that's when I jump on, You have permission to do that. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that you do not have to be on social media to do anything in life. You can say no. Just say no if you want to. But if you love being there, do it with joy. And be kind, be compassionate, and be a resource to other people. All right. That's my social media soapbox, and I will get off of it. Bless you, love to you, and I hope you have a great week. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to the show so you don't miss any new episodes. And to learn more about me, my work, and how we can connect, visit sterlingandstonementoring.com or check the show notes. And until next time, remember, all things are possible and figure outable.